obviously to try to get a formal pre-presentation going for the guests I have tonight. But before we get into that, I do want to remind everybody, if you still haven't watched the last two interviews, all right? One was with our Predator Poachers Southeast Texas, all right? And the other one was Julie Harmon. Those interviews, I think, like I said earlier on the IG Live, had a lot of information because the interview with Julie Harmon, obviously we're talking to a former victim and now survivor. So it's always good to, hear that different perspective on things. And as you guys are coming in, I want to say a big, warm welcome to each and every one of you. All right. Tetris God, as always, in the house. Brett Matheny, Sagtown. And I know little by little, everybody's going to start popping up here and there. But I usually try to get the warm welcomes out the way ahead of time. That way, when the interview actually starts, I can give my complete attention to the guests. And, obviously I don't want to interrupt the conversation when someone pops in and says hi and asks a question, or, is awesome enough to donate something or whatever. I do appreciate all that, the love, the support. But obviously when you're doing an interview, you want to make sure that the conversation is uninterrupted and, that the whole chemistry within the conversation stays intact. So that's why I try to get the hellos out the way now ahead of time. And that way I can focus later on the interview. Philly Girl, what's going on? Becca Lynn. Yep. Also, another reminder, all right, as I always do, the rules and regulations on every one of my interviews, and that will never change because I always will believe the golden rule, do unto others what you would have them do unto you. That's just something that I've always believed in since I was a child. So, that's not going to change. Do not say anything to my guests that is inappropriate, disrespectful in any way. Obviously, think of them as being like your longtime friends or family members, something like that, something along those lines, to where you find that common ground of respect, and, avoid saying anything that might be considered inappropriate. And of course, within the chat area, I know I really can't control much in the chat area because everybody's always going to do what they want to do. And that's, that's just how the internet works, and that's how life works. And I can't get mad at that. But I do always try to ask in advance that you guys be polite and respectful, because, tonight's interview, to me, every interview that I do is important, obviously, but obviously because of the topic at hand, I do try to take it as serious as possible. Let's see. I'm going to read some comments over here real quick before we get started. Biden and Paul. Oh, yeah, I've seen those, man. And see, that's kind of like the reason why this interview tonight is very important. And if you guys saw a post that I just did 2 or 3 minutes ago on my Instagram, pretty much promoting a documentary. It's about the same topic. It's about, human trafficking, sex trafficking, children and all that. And it goes into depth. I've only seen a little bit of it. I haven't seen it all the way through, but it really is engaging. It's really interesting. And because I'm somewhat of a person who was raised in the gospel and all that, the people doing the documentary, they're faith-based as well. So, they don't sensationalize anything, but they do provide a lot of facts and information. So, if you guys are wanting to check something like that out, obviously check that post that I did, and check the trailer out if you want. And then if you think it's that interesting, then go ahead and either rent the movie or buy the movie, whatever it is. I'm pretty sure it'll be beneficial for anybody who watches it, period. The same goes with tonight's interview. I know for a fact that tonight's interview will be of benefit to anybody and everybody who later on watches it, whether it be live right now or after it's posted. I know there's a lot of information that we need to hear, especially coming from a group that is devoting their time and effort and passion into, doing what they do. So 6:56. So in about 4 minutes or so, I'm just giving everybody time to kind of like arrive. And I know more people are going to arrive anyways as the interview pretty much like goes on. But I do try to give everybody some time just to kind of like get here before we start. By the way, I have some good news. Let me show my face because most of the time, I got people saying they want to see my face, which I don't know why. It's not a good looking face, especially I'm not even trimmed or nothing like that. I don't got no edged up, but it is what it is. All right. So the good news is that I was talking to a certain somebody. Well, I'll just go ahead and say part of it. He's one of the predator poachers, and he wanted to help your boy out with some exclusive merch. All right. I'm not saying it's gonna drop anytime soon. But just I want to tease you guys with it because it will be dropping at some point, hopefully before Christmas. It's something that honestly, it has nothing to do majorly with me because, as I've always said and always will say, I'm nobody. I'm just, somebody who thinks that this topic, it should be talked about a lot more and it should be like brought to light. So me, I'm just the voice of some of the people within this community online. So I'm not really like anybody special, but it will help out with, allowing me to give more time on this channel and other stuff that I got going on pertaining to this matter. So you should drop a hat. Hey, man, I actually thought about that, man, because it looks to me that the treatment that I've been trying for like a little while now for like my hair, y'all already know why I use hats. Like before my hair started thinning out, I never used hats ever. Like I was not a hat person. The moment my hair started like thinning out, bro, I had no choice. I was like, listen, I'm not gonna like disrespect my face with like thinning hair, so I started wearing hats. But yeah, that's right, Becca. But the only difference with my merchandise is that I'm going to do my very best to keep the topic at hand being the thing mostly displayed on the merchandise. So, for example, let's say, just to give everybody an example of what to expect. Let's say like on a T-shirt, right? It'll be like my name, like very small, like on the upper right corner or upper left corner or whatever. But then like in the center or in the back, it's gonna say, save the kids, save the children, rescue the children, something along those lines, to where the focus is not on me, but on the topic at hand. So that way the message gets across, and at the same time you're supporting your boy here. All right, it is 6:59. And in about a minute or so, I'm going to officially start the interview. All right. So if you guys have any questions, all right, we already went through the rules and regulations of the interview. All right. Respect my guests at all times. Don't say anything inappropriate. Don't be disrespectful. The golden rule. And of course, along with that, if you have any questions, go ahead, write them down on a piece of paper. That way, after the interview, okay. And I hate repeating this, but sometimes I have to because, people get excited during the interview and they hear something and they're like, oh, I got a question for that. And then they type it in. Just write your questions down on a piece of paper. And of course, after the interview, if I haven't asked the question already, or if they haven't answered the question already, then obviously after the interview, then I'll allow everybody to type their questions in and get those out the way. So without further ado, all right, I'm going to present to you guys, all right, Rescue the Children GA, all right, Miss Kennedy and Miss Corinne, correct?
Yeah, it's Corinne.
Okay, thank God, because I said it horrible earlier, but I guess it's just the Hispanic in me when I say names wrong.
No, you're cool.
So first of all, I hate to sound like I don't know what's the word for that, but I don't like sounding like I'm like being extra or whatever. But once again, I do want to thank you guys. All right, I know I said it earlier when we did like the practice run and everything, but it's because I really do highly appreciate you guys coming on here and talking about this topic and pretty much explaining what y'all do. It takes a special somebody to pretty much like take the time and say, yeah, I'm going to give my time, which is very valuable and important, and lend it to this person for I'm saying, like for their benefit, which is not for my benefit at all, but it's in the generally speaking, it's for everybody's benefit because you guys obviously hopefully will get a few more support from the people watching live and afterwards after it's posted. And at the same time, the awareness of this topic is more spread like wildfire. But before we get into all that, I want to allow you guys to take your time and present yourselves formally to the people. I'll let Kennedy go first, and then Corn will go afterwards.
Okay. Thank you so much for having us. We are really excited to be here. I'm Kennedy. I'm the CEO of Rescue the Children. Corinne's the president. She'll introduce herself. But I am 25 years old. I do have 2 children of my own. So this is very personal for me, as not just for my children, but other children as well. So.
All right. All right.
I'm Corinne. I'm 22 years old, and I am the president of Rescue the Children of Georgia. I do have a child, so I'm a mother, and it's definitely like near and dear to my heart, children in general, but especially like human trafficking. It just hits a soft spot. We want to do everything that we possibly can to help rescue any child for anything, but we want to start with one. So that's kind of why we started this, and we're very excited to be here.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, lovely ladies, for that awesome introduction. I could not have done better myself, so I'm glad I let you guys do that formal introduction for yourselves because I would have probably chopped it up really bad. But first things first, all right, let's kind of like rewind back a little bit. Now, I've read the information that you sent me, and I went to your page, and I checked you guys out for a while and see what you're about. Now, I have to ask this before we get into the actual meat of the information. When was like the first time before you started this organization? When was the first time that it crossed your mind to like, well, maybe like getting involved in that would be like really nice. I would love to like help out one day and kind of like be some kind of like support system or group for that situation. Like, did it happen like way before, like years ago, or like when?
For myself, it actually didn't because it's not something I was very educated on topic wise. It was a huge movement and everybody was just hashtagging this, hashtagging that. And I was like, well, I mean, it's great we're bringing awareness to it, but a hashtag isn't going to save these children. So I decided to make a Facebook group, which quickly grew to 10,000 members within a week. And I was like, okay, like we have to do something about this. A hashtag isn't going to save these children. So I reached out to Corinne, and from there, we just kind of did what we had to do, became a legal nonprofit so that we could actually help children. That way we weren't just a Facebook group. We weren't just creating a hashtag, doing more than raising awareness on our part. So.
All right, Corinne, shoot.
Okay, so mine's a little bit confusing. I'm actually in school right now to be a licensed clinical social worker. So I've always kind of had this passion for helping children pretty much my whole life. I just changed my major from nursing to LCSW, and I just wanted to do something within like the bounds of just helping any child or a family get back on their feet after domestic violence, sexual assault, anything that has to do with that. But like Kennedy said, once human trafficking and sex trafficking became like huge on social media, I just kept seeing it. Like, I don't want to just keep sharing things on Facebook. I want to actually do things. So when Kennedy reached out to me, when the group was first started, I of course jumped on that opportunity, and we started a nonprofit together, and now here we are.
Awesome, awesome. Now, Corinne, I mean, I don't mean to interrupt you, and I know you just like kind of ended your thought right there, but I gotta say, and I know you guys already know this because y'all seen like when I like something or reshared or whatever, but you guys do a great job being consistent and posting images and facts, information like every single day on Instagram and Facebook. You know, like, and I don't want to say that it should, like you guys just said, it shouldn't just stay there. It should like obviously be more of like taking action and initiative and doing something about it. But it does actually provoke some kind of like reaction from the viewer, because I'm one that I see the images and I see the quotes and I'm like, man, like this is like serious. I'm gonna share this forward. So don't ever think that the images and the hashtags and all that don't do much. And I know it's probably not what you're thinking, but I'm saying it like to the public, like to the public in general, who also post things about sex trafficking and all that. Don't think that the image or the quote that you're posting isn't doing anything, because trust me, someone out there is gonna see it and they're gonna be like, all right, and they're gonna either take action, all right, like this awesome team is doing, or continue sharing awareness about this topic. So don't ever think that it's not doing anything. All right, ladies. So you're both in Georgia, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. And you guys already mentioned y'all have kids, and I'm sure that has a great, I guess, power behind what you do and doing what you do every day. Have you ever feared? I mean, as a parent, I assume you do, but is it something constant from you guys to like fear something like that happening to your own children? You know what I mean? Or has it like never crossed your mind, or it crosses your mind, but you're like, no, I take good care of them. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
No. As a parent, that's a constant worry you have every day, especially with the work that we do. It's my biggest fear. I would definitely risk my own life to save my child's, and anything from that environment, that kind of life, anything happening to them. And Corinne can actually tell you, when we first got started, she received a very scary message. And I'll let her explain that, because she's the one that received the message giving us a warning about what we were doing and getting ourselves into.
Yeah. So of course, every single day I worry about my child. That's just mothers, fathers, all of us. We have to make sure that they're safe. When we first started Rescue the Children of Georgia, and we were just a Facebook group, we hadn't filed yet. We were about a week away from filing. We were so excited, posting everywhere. I had someone actually reach out and ask, how sure are you that you want to do this? Because there's a lot of dangers in this, and basically just kind of laid it out for us. Of course, we already knew, but about, how dangerous it is for your own children, for yourself, just being women and having kids and being young. So that was something that we kind of had to talk about. It was really never like a matter of, are we going to continue to do this or not? It was more like, okay, we know this, but now we're getting deeper into it, so we definitely have to be more careful. I personally think that as long as we are, taking care of our children, making sure that we're doing everything correctly, and we're not trusting, just anybody with our kids, then, we're doing everything that we can. So hopefully we never have to get to a situation where we would have to worry even more.
All right, all right. Well said. Once again, I could not have, obviously, because I wasn't there, I can't say it better myself. Now, along with that question, all right, do you know of anyone like closely, whether it be a friend, a neighbor, a family member who has gone through this, the being trafficked or?
Yes, I do. I was waiting for Kennedy to answer. Sorry. I actually know a couple people. A while ago, a woman reached out to me on Facebook, way before we had ever started this group, actually. As kind of the beginning of the pandemic, maybe a little bit before. And she was telling me about her child. And I don't know her personally. I just knew her like through Facebook, mutual friends. So I do know that situation. I also had a friend in high school that was involved in sex trafficking. And she is great now, got out of it. Everything was fine. But it's really scary to me to think that there are some teenage girls or teenage boys that get into sex trafficking and don't think that anything's wrong. Because that's one of the things that my friend, she never realized anything was wrong until she did. You know, she didn't listen to anybody. There was nothing wrong with the older men that she would be with. Like there's nothing wrong with that in her mind. And that's something that kind of hits close to home, is like, you don't realize that these people don't realize nothing's wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, and I was watching a documentary, not the one I was mentioning earlier, but another documentary like a few days ago about this topic, and they said the same thing. They normally and usually victims of this, they either blame themselves, and they don't blame the person pretty much handling them, uh, until like maybe years after they're like pretty much like saved from that situation, or after a few years of like therapy, they realize then it's like dang, like that person has had me some under some weird like mind control tactic. It's weird. It's really interesting though, like how that works. How a victim does not even know they're an actual victim until like way afterwards. Go ahead, Kennedy. I'm sorry about that.
Oh no, you're good. Personally, that I know of, I've never had anybody tell me that that was happening to them, but chances are very, very high that every single one of us knows somebody that this has happened to. They may not know that, but
Right.
I mean, it's very, very high chances that it's happened to somebody that you know.
Very true. Very true. It's the same with anything else. Like we don't know who in our neighborhood is like a child predator or molester, but someone that we knows somebody that went through it and probably knows of someone like close by that was one or is one or whatever. And all it takes is just pretty much like networking, like getting to know the people around you, talking to your neighbors, getting to know your neighbors a little bit. And that's something that back home on the island, in Puerto Rico, is very like natural and common. Like everybody in your neighborhood, well, at least in my case, I can't speak for everybody, but for the most part, we all feel like family. And why is that? It's because we get to know each other. We visit each other a little bit more often. We talk to each other, and that's something that I think this day and age, we're lacking a lot of that. We're lacking because we're like all in fear and all scared of like either going through something like that ourselves, or meeting like another type of like a danger. All right. And so we kind of like more protective. We're kind of like more like isolated from everybody else. But I do think that if we took the time to get to know the people around us, it would greatly benefit everyone, because there's some times where you can kind of like talk to somebody and have like a gut feeling about that person. You might not see any like weird behavior right away, or something that involves this whole topic, but sometimes you just talk with a person and you just feel like in the pit of your stomach like something's not right with that person or whatever. Um, but anyways, that's a little small tangent on that, but I just think it's something that we should all ponder on eventually. Now I have a lot of people asking me, and I try to enforce it early, about not really asking questions in the chat area right now. But since already someone went ahead and did it, a lot of people are asking like, what do you guys specifically do within the organization that helps, I'm saying, with rescuing these children, or anyone in general, like going through the whole sex trafficking situation?
Go ahead, Corinne.
Okay, so we actually started our nonprofit at the beginning of September. We filed and became legal with the state of Georgia. So as of right now, we're trying to work with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation to start a search and rescue team. We had a group of ex-military, ex-Marines, basically just vets, and ex-firefighters and ex-policemen that wanted to help with the actual search and rescue, the seizing of the traffickers and the victims and getting them to a safe spot. We are trying to find another nonprofit that's local to do housing for the victims once our rescue team searches them, or our rescue team goes and searches and finds these victims and takes them home. Because we right now do not have, it really wasn't in our plan for housing. We figured we could work with another nonprofit because there's so many around here, but there's not that many that do the actual search and rescue. It's more just like the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. We like to work hand in hand with them. We'd like to start a tip line and a hotline so that people could call in and give us tips about any trafficking that they think might be going on, or also just call just to talk, because a lot of traffickers, I mean, they may not know that they're in trafficking. They don't think that anything's wrong with it, but some might. That's something that we always have to think about. We'd also like to start a store eventually. That's one of our big goals, and to employ trafficking victims so that they can somehow maintain a life outside of trafficking, because it's a pretty big thing that when people get out of trafficking, they're going right back. And personally, I don't want to rescue a child 3 times. I just don't. I want the first time to be the last time, and then to continue to have a life outside of trafficking and be able to maintain that life, have like appropriate counseling and just accessibility to all the things that they will need whenever they're out of it. And that's included in like schools and workplaces. So we'd like to, of course, get into schools and have seminars and talk around Georgia, definitely not just in one place, and hopefully reach international levels as well. So right now we're having a lot of planning, a lot of meetings and talking to people, but we're getting there.
Awesome. Kenny, do you got anything to add to that?
No, Corinne is my spokesperson because she does so well.
I mean, she said everything like to the T. I thought I was like listening to like a what do you call it, like a broadcast, like news station type person for a second there. I was like, oh, okay, that's like a lot of information. I like that. No, that's good, because people obviously, you know, whoever sees this afterwards, they can take your word for word, like where to go to and like what to look for. You know, so that's good. I like, you know, people giving out information like that. That's good. Which I think, by the way, you already answered something I was going to ask. If there was other organizations doing the same thing, but you already answered that question perfectly. So, you know, I do appreciate that information. Now, aside from all that, aside from, which, by the way, is especially the whole like allowing these people to like find a job or like put them to work and give them like an opportunity, I think that helps out a lot, because the mind is a very interesting thing. And I guess when someone is not active or like, you know, doing something and they just came out of a rut or out of like a situation, like a really dark situation, if they're not busy or occupying their mind and their efforts, they usually find themselves like kind of like pretty much like going back to where they were at, like you guys just said a few minutes ago. And you know, I don't know if it's like just me, but usually it's like that's how it happens. It's like, oh, that person was, let's just put an example out there, that person was a thief, so I'm not going to give them like an opportunity. And that's sad, because it very well may happen to these people that go through this situation. Say, oh, you know, I don't want that type of person over. So, you know, the fact that you guys are helping out in that area, like, means a lot to me. So, another question I have for you guys, all right, is are you planning to expand like outside of like Georgia at some point and be like, we want to make this into like a multi, I don't say national, but country, like pretty much like in every state have an organization like Rescue the Children, such state, or is it just going to stay something that's like within the Georgia and obviously anywhere else you can help? How's that going to happen?
Okay, so we definitely would love to expand to other states, and that is our ultimate goal to do so. When we originally started this, we were unaware that we had to apply for a nonprofit in each state. So right now we're focusing on one state, getting our name out there, getting people to know us, what we're doing, what we're about, getting sponsors. And once we start making a change here, we can start expanding into other states and have people in other states helping us do our work there. And hopefully we can reach every state. It's definitely going to take time, but that's something that we are working at.
Good, good, good. All right. Ms. Blackman, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, kind of. Okay, so of course we want to reach like all of the 50 states in the United States, but eventually we'd also like to reach international levels. I mean, if we could get anywhere and everywhere, that'd be great. Our main goal of our nonprofit is so that sex trafficking and human trafficking, all of trafficking, does not exist. It shouldn't be a thing. It should have never started. And we're going against this $150 billion business that they're making annually. And that's just what we know about. And it's going to be like a huge battle, but we're working towards it. And we're spending every single day dedicating our time, our money, and, as much as we can to make sure that we do as much as we can to get as far as we want to go. So of course, we're starting in Georgia. We have to start with our community, make sure that we get, our faces out there, get people to know our personalities, who we are, not just about our nonprofit, because it's such a big thing for people to know who we are. We just want to make sure we start here in our hometowns, all of Georgia, and then eventually spread further.
Awesome. I love the energy, by the way. I love the good attitude you guys have towards this, which reminds me to ask, and I know this question, it might sound vague at the moment that I'm gonna ask it, but I guess you could take your time and really think hard about it, because it sounds like an easy question to answer right off the bat, but at the same time, when you're like realistic about it, it might be a little bit more complex. But how far and how long are you guys going to be doing this? Like, is it something ultimately like long run, you're gonna do this till you're old and you can't anymore, or at some point do you think you might have to pretty much entrust the responsibility to like other people to keep it going?
Well, I can't speak for Corinne, but I'm sure she feels the same way I do. I'm going to do this until I can't do it anymore. This is something I'm very passionate about. This is something I obviously have years left of doing. We have not settled completely on the bylaws on that, because how a nonprofit works is you have bylaws, and one of the bylaws that you can add in is each board director has to be re-voted in every 3-5 years, whatever the time may be. And Corinne and I had just talked about this earlier, is that's not something we're going to want to implement into our bylaws, because this isn't something I'm willing to give up in 5 years, especially if I bust my butt, get this up and going. I want to be there to see the success. I want to be able to see the survivors. It's not something I'm planning on stopping doing anytime soon. As long as we're successful, as long as we're saving children, then I'm here. So, Corinne.
Yeah, I pretty much feel the same way. This isn't something that I want to stop doing. Like Kennedy said, with the bylaws, we were trying to think of a way where we could do it, where if other board members, reached the end of what they wanted to be their term, maybe that's something they could have like written in. But for us, there's no stop in sight. We want to get this going. We want to start with something that we're passionate about, and we want to continue to do it until we can't anymore.
So, I mean, that's why I had to ask, because I kind of have like a similar question for other people that I have on here, and most of them like to answer like right away. Oh, I'll do this till like the day I die, or I'll do this till like my last breath. But I mean, we gotta be realistic about it. We gotta kind of like that's something I hadn't even thought about. The whole like bylaws, like in your case, I really hadn't thought about that. And we have to keep an open mind of like, okay, what if I'm only allowed to do this much, or I'm only allowed to do something until this particular time. Like, who else can I trust to kind of like hold the reins and keep things going after I can't do it no more? So
Yeah.
That's good that your heart's in the right place, though. That's good. And by the way, I have someone on here. Let me see if I can scroll back because a lot's going on in the chat area.
Yeah, I've noticed.
I'm
Yeah.
not. Y'all have to excuse the chat area and kind of like ignore it for a few. But I saw something that it was actually worth putting up here. But maybe happened too long ago. Anyways, I guess I'll just ask that later before I actually end the stream or after the actual interview. But do you guys get a lot of, I don't know, like support, and not only in your area, but like do people from out of state reach out to you and say, hey, I want to help and I want to support the cause and the organization, outside of like financial, like how else can I support? How else can I help you guys? Do you guys get those messages a lot?
Yes. Actually, we have so many people reaching out all the time. Like, how can we volunteer? What can we do to help you? We actually got an email about a month and a half ago from this man in Ireland. And he messaged us and was like, I'm passionate about this too. How can I start it here? And of course, we don't know the laws in Ireland or how that's going to work. But of course, we told him, if you have friends on Facebook, if you have a good audience, go ahead and make a group, get it started there, start a walk. Obviously check your local laws, but it was crazy to us that someone, that far away reached out to us and wanted our advice and tips. We do have a lot of people that would rather, volunteer than help financially, and that's totally fine. Right now we have a lot of our volunteer opportunities mostly range from our fundraisers that we're starting. We have a lot that we have to do before we can accept lots of volunteers and need a lot of help, but we are working on that.
All right. Kennedy, you want to add something to that, or was that pretty much like the bulk of the situation with that?
Yeah, she kills it like always. But I just want to add that we have had so much support and we're so thankful for it. I hope that some of our supporters do see this so they know that how thankful we are. We've had different resources reach out, helping us with our CPA, with filing. I mean, that's it costs a lot of money actually to pay somebody to file to become a nonprofit for you. And we had somebody offer their services, somebody in HR, somebody in marketing. We've had a lot of people reach out. Right now we're trying to get coverage so that we can get an office so that we have an actual space to work. We have kids, so working from home is not ideal because everybody says they can do it and then get distracted. But we have had a lot of support and we are so thankful for that.
Awesome. Yeah, because I'm actually one of those people who obviously I want to help and I want to support. And not only financially though, I'm trying to think of ways outside of what I already know you guys just said, in the ways that one can help and all that. But outside of that, I'm trying to figure out, okay, what else individually, like me separately, can I do to help that organization on this side? Because I mean, Florida is just one step away from Georgia, literally. So it's always been curious to me how different states can help each other out when it comes to this matter, this topic at hand. Now,
yeah, it's funny you're in Florida, real quick. It's funny you're in Florida because we had somebody else in Florida as well reach out about doing a fundraiser and a podcast, and they asked us as well if we were going to expand to Florida, and obviously our answer was yes. So it's very interesting that we've now done 2 podcasts with somebody in Florida. So hopefully Florida is our next step. I mean, Florida has a huge problem as well because of Universal and that side of things. Just like Atlanta being an international airport, Florida has some big theme parks that attracts a lot of traffickers and a lot of kids. So Florida is definitely our next step going forward.
Awesome, and it would only make sense. You hit the nail on the head. Universal Studios, Disney, all these places that is pretty much a setup for children and teens and preteens and all that. is like a fertile ground for trafficking and all this other stuff. So I mean, I really do hope you guys expand over here like ASAP. But I'm a patient man. I can wait. Once that happens, though, you can count with my support. Now, what I was going to say was, for the people wanting to help and are borderline like trying to decide whether to support you guys or not, like I'm gonna pull up some screens on this side. But you guys, I want you guys to pretty much like let the people know like the legitimacy, obviously, the organization and all that, and why not to be scared of like wanting to support and back you guys up in that area. All right. So I'm gonna pull up the actual website, and then I'll let you guys kind of like talk a little bit about it. And just give me 1 second, because right. So, looking at this is the correct website, correct? Like the
Yes.
actual. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna read the mission statement for anybody watching this now or afterwards. All right. It says, "Rescue the Children of Georgia." All right, is a corporation nonprofit based out of Cumming, Georgia. RTCGA's mission is to create and fund search groups in order to find and rescue sex trafficking victims. This includes giving schools and workplaces the appropriate counseling services and funding to make sure that these victims can maintain a life outside of sex trafficking. RTCGA strives to provide accurate information and quality seminars to help better educate young people and their parents about the risks and warning signs of sex trafficking. We value our mission and believe it is our job to help rescue children and help spread the accurate facts and data to keep everyone in the state of Georgia informed and safe. As our nonprofit expands, we plan to reach international levels, which is pretty much what we were just talking about a few minutes ago. Now, I don't want to take too much of your time, both of you, but pretty much like wrapping things up. Unless you guys want to add something else, what are your last words for people? Kind of like pretty much like, all right, well, how do I know like for a fact though? Because there's like a lot of organizations out there that supposedly and blah blah blah. Like, what would be your words to kind of like help encourage people like either that are not informed in this area to say, all right, I got no excuses. You know, I'm gonna like support these guys and give them like backup.
Okay, so while there are tons of huge organizations that work for human trafficking, like they want to stop it, they want to help sex trafficking victims, we aren't a huge organization. We don't profit off of this at all. We make no money doing this whatsoever. We do this out of our own time, out of our own pockets. We are both two girls from a small town in Georgia with our own children who have a passion and dedication to helping rescue human trafficking victims and give them the life that they deserve after they're out of trafficking. That's something that it's kind of hard to explain it that way, because you look at a website for like a big organization and you're intrigued, you want to see it. And then you look at a website for a small organization and it's kind of like small business owners. We are doing the absolute best that we can to help every child, not just our own. If it were mine, I want someone to fight for my child as I and Kennedy are fighting for these children. Another huge thing is we are obviously filed through the state of Georgia, and that is public information. You can look that up. We are definitely 100% legit. That's something that we pride ourselves in. We've been in, he's showing it now, local news articles. We had someone reach out to us and want to write an article about us just to get more information. We are, of course, dedicated to rescuing victims of trafficking, but we're also dedicated to making sure that our community and the people who follow us and want to support our nonprofit know us and can trust us. I wouldn't trust anybody with my child that I didn't know. So we have to, make an effort to make sure that everybody who's watching us, supporting us, and following us, that they know us, because that's really important. Kennedy, do you have anything else to add?
No, you hit the nail on the head like always. But I will say, you know, if you ever have any questions, we are on Instagram, we're on Facebook personally and nonprofit wise. Feel free to reach out to us. We can definitely show you our IRS papers, state of Georgia papers, everything to validate us as well. Our website does have a few links like to the newspaper, which we had to validate our, you know, our nonprofit to them as well. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Our emails on the website. Our phone numbers are on our business cards. We don't put it on the website because we prefer somebody to shoot us an email. And if they want to chat, they can just give us their phone number and we would love to call them. If you have any questions, just email us. It's on our website. He's showing it right now. Or on Facebook or on Instagram. So
yeah, and we're pretty much on social media all day long. We're on our phones constantly. I mean, we're taking phone calls, video meetings, so we reply fairly quickly. That's something that we also pride ourselves in, is we don't want anybody to have to wait for a simple question that we can answer in 30 seconds. So if you ever had any questions or you wanted more information or you wanted to just watch us grow as our nonprofit expands, like Kennedy said, we do have a Facebook. It's just Rescue the Children of Georgia. We have a group and a page. And of course, our website and our email. You can send us a direct message on Facebook or an email. Anything works for us. We love hearing from anybody who wants to know information about it. This helps us keep going. So.
And I do want to add on to Corinne's statement of, you know, there's obviously bigger organizations and we're small. Tax records, when we file, they're public. So you can see where every dime of our money went, which this is huge. You can see that we haven't paid ourselves anything. You can see that we're not making anything off this. If you go online, when we get off the phone or when we get off this interview and look up Save the Children 501c3 tax documents from last year, the CEO from last year made $487,000. $487,000 to be the CEO of a nonprofit to help rescue children. $487,000 that could have went to actually rescuing children.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's something that we definitely pride ourselves in, is that we do this out of our own time, our own pockets. You know, everything that we have gotten for the nonprofit, we have receipts. There's proof. Like Kennedy said, it's public record, so you can look any of that up. We don't do this for our own gain. We do this specifically for victims of trafficking, and that's something that we pride ourselves in a lot.
All right. That was a mouthful. And I'm glad you guys took the time to actually, little by little, share all that valuable information with everybody, because I know there's a lot of people who really want, they take it a step further and into questioning, people and their motives and all that. So thankfully, because of everything that you just shared, there should be no doubt, there should be no hesitance, all right, well, I mean, now I don't know what to do. No, there should be none of that. There should be pretty much full-blown support. You already have my support, so and I really do hope that everyone watching this now consider you guys, or considers following you guys and supporting every single step of the way, along with anybody who watches this afterwards. All right. Now, I did share the Facebook, the Instagram, and the official website. But if you actually, you know what, I'm gonna try to do something real quick before I officially start closing things out, because I do want to allow people to ask questions about the interview and to you guys, and I don't want to keep taking more time than I have already. But pretty much, yeah. Facebook is pretty easy to find you guys. It's Rescue the Children of Georgia, and you're literally the first page that pops up when I type that in. Hey, even halfway through typing it in, you guys were the first ones to pop up. Same thing with the IG. It's the same thing, only it's all together. Rescue the Children GA, and the website, it's the same thing, but spelled correctly. All right. That being said, I want to give the next 5 minutes to everyone in the chat area If they want to ask something to these lovely ladies that are doing what they're doing, go ahead and whatever questions you have written down, go ahead and type them in. I think I read something earlier that asked how many victims have you guys personally known to have that like you helped, like pretty much. Let me see if I can go back to the actual. Okay, there we go. Yeah, how many victims have they helped so far? And I'm guessing they mean like that personally. Like, all right, like we know for a fact this person, is out of that situation, they're doing better for themselves.
Corinne, I'll answer that. Okay, so through our nonprofit, we actually just became legal a month ago. We've only been doing this for a month. So the group that we have for search and rescue is still being certified through the GPI to actually assist them. So as far as our nonprofit goes, we haven't saved anybody from trafficking situations yet. Now, as far as on a personal level goes, I can't tell you how many people have reached out to Corinne and I since we've started this about their situations. And it's not like a hold your gun to your head type of thing. I mean, a lot of the times it is, but it's not always like that. So as far as people reaching out to us since we've started this, we have spread so much awareness. People that didn't quite understand what was happening to them. Obviously, the movement on Facebook helped a lot, but with us showing our faces, spreading awareness, telling people what we're about, that's given people security to reach out to us about what kind of situation they are in and what has happened to them and what they're currently going through. And we have actually been able to talk a lot of people out of the situation that we're in. One lady that was going to do a haircutting fundraiser for us, she was gonna hold a whole fundraiser where she cut everyone's hair for free and all the profits and donations went directly to us. Well, come to find out, her daughter is actually currently in a sex trafficking situation. So that's a current thing that's going on right now as we're speaking that we are working on. So great.
Oh yeah, so we've had tons of people reach out to us. Tons of people tell us their stories, and I think that a lot of times we need people to listen to them without judging them or wanting to use it as like, I don't want to say like blackmail, but at the same time, you don't know who you're sharing your story to, and it makes us feel really good that people can just reach out to us and trust us enough with their own stories. We've actually had a couple people reach out and ask if they could speak at our fundraisers too. Like ex-victims that wanted to, just talk at our fundraiser and see if they could share their own story. And that was really amazing to us. But like Kennedy said, we started our nonprofit at the beginning of September. So we're still working on a lot of things, but we're really excited for what the future holds.
Nice. All right. So, I mean, I really do hope everybody, eventually, whether it be now or afterwards, can kind of like take that and run with it. And let me just kind of like exit this out real quick. All right. So, any last words to anybody else that you guys might have, whether it be like pertaining to like the parents, kind of like keeping a closer eye on their children, or strategies of like pretty much how to tell if someone that might be going through the whole trafficking situation that you've learned along the way as you've been pretty much involved in this situation that you might have for the viewers.
Yeah. So did you want to talk, Kennedy?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So I was just going to say that as like a parent, yes, pay attention to your child's social media. Pay attention to what they're doing. I know that young teenagers, preteens, it's hard to get them to talk to you. Make that connection. Try to get your children to talk to you because that's important. And if your kids can talk to you about stuff, they'll be able to tell you about things that are going on. And that's not going to leave you clueless and feel like you didn't know what was going on because you did. You already knew. Another thing is to watch documentaries, research, educate yourself on what human trafficking is, how you can better educate your children. there's this big stigma around the word sex, and it's hard for people to talk about sex trafficking because of that word. And that's something that we need to change. You need to start talking to your children about things like that, especially when they get into high school. Except like when they're old enough to ask questions and they know it needs to be spread. The more that you know, the more educated you are on human trafficking, the more you can better protect yourself. If you don't know what it is, then how do you know if someone's in it? And I think another question that you asked is, I'm sorry, my mind just went completely blank. What can we tell people to like look out for, like warning signs and things like that? So if you were ever in a situation where you thought that someone was in a trafficking situation, unfortunately, there's not a lot of warning signs that are very secure. There are tons that you can find on the internet, such as, you know, if there is a younger girl with an older man, if they're, you know, these kids, if you're a teacher and a student is coming to school and they're just acting really off, or they're showing tons of money that they didn't have before. Say it was a student who, you know, came from a family that didn't have a lot of money, and then they just suddenly came to school with stacks of hundreds, and they're showing all their friends, or they got brand new shoes, and they're not usually like that, and it's like a pattern. Those are things for you to look out for, but there's also warning signs that are like if a child's falling asleep in class and they used to not before. I think the biggest like warning sign of any kind of trafficking, abuse, just any of it, is just pay attention to someone's attitude. If they change, if you think something's off, check up on them, check up on with the parents. If you're a parent and you think something's off with your child, talk to them, talk to their peers, get that information somehow, because you just have to care about the people that are around you, and hopefully they'll open up to you, because there's just a lot of things that it's hard to figure out, you know. You can know all the warning signs and still not know if someone was involved in a trafficking situation.
And also, I'll add to that, don't just, if you're a parent, don't just inform yourself, inform your children. I'm sorry, but personally, I believe Corinne agrees, no age is too young to teach them about what is going on, what could happen to them. Don't teach them nicknames for their private parts. Teach them the accurate anatomy of their bodies. Let them know that, hey, these things don't go on. It's not just, like Corinne would say, snatching kids in a white van type of deal. Right. It's your uncle at home. It could possibly be your brother, any family member, anyone that acts different, anyone that your child is uneasy about. Watch that. Those are huge things. A lot of the times it happens at home. And one thing I will add is make it part of discipline. I had one lady reach out to me and say that her 13-year-old daughter got caught sneaking out, and she had lost her phone while she was out, a whole big ordeal. So for her punishment, you know, obviously other than being grounded, she made her write a huge paper on sex trafficking. And before she wrote that paper, she had to do interviews with people from the GBI, people in counseling and centers for like that, for human trafficking, to inform herself and then write a paper on it. So not only was the child getting disciplined for her actions, but she was informing her of what could have happened, what she exposed herself to. Another lady said that her daughter sent nudes to a guy over the internet that she had no idea who he was. She's 12 years old. So she reached out to me asking what I could show her videos, look up on videos on YouTube. There's a lot out there to inform you and your child. So take advantage of that. I mean, seriously, take advantage of it.
Agreed. I'm someone who always pretty much like recommends like pretty much like having an open mind and doing your own personal individual research about these topics, because what's out there like on the news and all that is almost never the whole tale, the whole like, you know, like shebang, if you will. Like, it's not the whole complete package of information that you might find if you just do a little research on yourself, or like you said, like on YouTube, or just like sites that pretty much like dedicate their time and effort into investigating situations, you know, for themselves. So I highly recommend that as well. But yeah, thank you both so much for being on here. I don't want to keep taking your time, because technically it's going to be an hour of since I started like the stream, but think it's been only like 50 minutes since I've had you guys on here, and I don't want to like take more of your time. But to the both of you, Corinne and Kennedy, I really do appreciate every single minute you guys spent on here. You guys provided extremely valuable information that I hope the viewers, whether it be live or afterward, kind of like take home and like expand on it and like look into it. And I really do hope people from this point forward, whoever watched this, goes ahead and like support you guys because you guys are doing great work. And like I said, I'm gonna be patiently waiting to see the expansion onto Florida. And once that happens, you know, we'll see what I can do. So thank you both for being on here. You guys are great. I hope at some point in the future I have you back on here and pretty much like giving me an update on how things have gone from here up until like, you know, a year from now, 2 years from now, how much the organization has grown and all that good stuff. All right.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Y'all have a good one.
You too.
All right. So that was an awesome interview. I'm beyond grateful for having them on here. They did a great job. And I can't say thank all of you guys for keeping the chat, you know, professional and focused on the topic at hand, because I kind of like through the corner of my eye, I read a few comments that had none to do with like the interview, and you know I found that extremely disrespectful. But for those of you who were respectful and pretty much kept it on the topic at hand, I do appreciate you guys. All right. I'm gonna, as always, as I try to do always, shout out everybody on here. And after that, I'm going to say a few words real quick. All right. Obviously, this doesn't go back all the way from the beginning of the stream. Sadly, on my end, I can't do it because I'm on StreamYard. So, but yeah, the ones who I mentioned earlier at the start of the stream, thank you guys for being on here. I appreciate it. Becca Lynn, Last VXC, Sacktown Stoner, Jessica, Pirate Hacker, Texas God, Christopher LaRoche, appreciate you, brother. Who else? Marcus Garvey, Predator Poachers Archive. Let's see. AF. NYK Spotlight, Mr. FM himself. Juancito. Just to make sure I get everybody that I see on here. But yeah, let me do that real quick. That's a good idea, Mr. Sacktown Stoner. So there goes the link. I don't know if it'll work for you guys, but I sent the link right there, and I'll do. I mean, you guys already. No, all right. Well, actually, let me just add this just in case y'all were wondering. All right. Also, this right here. And you can reach out to them anytime, guys. They're really chill. They're really like down to earth. They'll pretty much like answer your messages like almost right away. But yeah, I'm gonna read some of these comments, and I'm going to try to leave another stream to address some of the stuff that I've seen in the comment area. All right, so once again, I'm not allowed to go too far back in the chat area because this is StreamYard. It's not YouTube right now for me. So Marcus Garvey says Jay's only in this for the money. He loves if you pay attention. If you're talking about Jay from Predator Poachers Massachusetts, I wouldn't say that. I haven't seen that myself, so I can't really I haven't seen it, so therefore I can't really give my opinion, except for, in my opinion, I guess, like from what I've seen, that isn't the case. Let's see. Marcus Garvey also says he turned his back on the branches, won't even say Alex's name. I don't know how true that is. And I think someone said earlier, well, let me read some of these comments, and then I'll try to start a different stream to address some of this stuff, because it'd be disrespectful to kind of like have this on here when it was about an interview. So just 1 second. Predator Poachers Archive says, I also stopped watching Jay after he unmodded me for no reason. I supported him 100%, and he dumped me like I was nothing. Becca says, that is no surprise to me. Tetris guy says, maybe he made a mistake. Oh, Chris, thank you for that. I appreciate it, man. He teamed back up with Rami. Is Jay leaving PP for PCA? I don't know. Okay, it was announced by Rami and Jay's chat, and Jay was in his live stream a few weeks back. Thank you for the people saying that they support me. I appreciate it. I'm just trying to get like the gist of like the whole drama in the chat area real quick. Yeah, let's see what someone. Yeah. Jay is threatening girls in his chat. What? That's a God point. Like, was it just saying his Instagram is private, so I can't see what he's saying? All right, and then I have someone, JDQ, could you please address PP Mass being banned apparently from your channel? I haven't banned anybody. Like, I don't really ban anybody. I think the only person I've banned thus far has been like Ronnie, as far as I can remember. I haven't really banned anybody else that I can think of. All right, who's disrespectful? Okay. Okay, so yeah, like I said, I haven't banned anybody from anything. Like, let's see if I can show you guys. I'm gonna try to show like real quick, because I don't ban anybody unless like it, you know what I'm saying? Unless there's like no other option and like no other choice but to do it. Like in, like Rami's case. But I don't really win anything by banning someone from my channel. So if I don't benefit from banning someone from my channel, I wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? Like, there's no point. If there's no point on that, then let's see. I'm gonna try to see if I can show you guys. I don't have to do this, but I'm gonna see if I can show. Let's see. I do want to protect some people. All right, hold on. All right, so like, yeah. Lights, Cam Action. He's banned. Murder Merc is banned. Rami is banned, obviously. Cam Robinson banned Dante Robs. There's people like that, but I'm trying to share the screen with you guys. Hold on. Saying you banned him in the chat. Thanks, Chris. All right, so let me close some of the other pages out real quick. Okay, so let's see if I can share. Unless, look. All right. Let's see if I can do this real quick. All right, so I don't know if y'all can see this, okay? But okay, so I don't know if this is who y'all talking about, because this is not, it doesn't say Predator Poachers Massachusetts, so that's not Jay. That's somebody else that's under the name of Jason J. So that's not Predator Poachers Massachusetts. You know, but you know, these are all the people that I have like banned, and I know someone else, I can't really tell who it is. And I guess people change their names too. So, but yeah. So I just kind of showed you guys. I didn't ban Jay from Predator Poachers Massachusetts. And yeah, I don't know why a lot of people are saying that. I don't understand. And I have no beef at all with Jay. Never have, never will. And yeah, anyways, I'm gonna let you guys go. All right. Thank you all for stopping by. And thank you for support. Thank you for the love. Even the people who hate on me, I appreciate the hate. Rachel, what's going on? You kind of got here late for the interview, but got here late for the drama as well. So that's good and bad at the same time. I'm gonna let y'all go. It's already 8:02. I still have somewhat of a headache. But yeah, just a reminder. Yeah, I have never banned Jay from Predator Poachers Massachusetts from my channel. You know, I have no reason to. I mean, I've never had a reason to do that. He hasn't done or said anything to me or against me that I know of. So yeah, that whole issue or drama about me banning Jay, that's not true at all. Like at all. I just showed you guys people who are banned from my channel. Thank you, Sagtown Stoner. I appreciate that. Yeah, I really don't ban anybody unless they really, really like look to be banned. Like they do something extreme, you know what I'm saying, that it's like logical for me to ban them or whatever. Yeah, but I don't do any of that. But yeah, hopefully that clears things up for you guys. I mean, yeah, hey, Chris, I appreciate that, bro. And yeah, y'all have a blessed night. I love every single one of you guys. You guys are great. And yeah, if y'all didn't see the interview, go ahead and rewind the stream, watch it, kind of like hear the girls out. They have a lot of valuable information. Go ahead, hit them up on Instagram. All right, Rescue the Children GA. Rescue the Children GA on Facebook as well, and the website. Right? And peace out, guys. Y'all have a great night, all right? Thank you for stopping by, every single one of you guys. I appreciate it. Peace.